And today we're talking about, corruption. Specifically, we're examining the latest verdicts from the Transparency International, a global watchdog that tracks corruption perception worldwide. According to the 2024 Transparency International Corruption Index, Nigeria scored 25 out of 100 points, ranking 145 out of 180 countries. The ranking indicates that Nigeria still has a long way to go in its fight against corruption. The index also reveals that over two-thirds of countries score below 50 out of 100, strongly indicating serious corruption problems worldwide. Corruption has far-reaching consequences for Nigeria's economy and its people. It's estimated that corruption costs Nigeria billions of dollars annually, with World Bank suggesting that corruption can reduce a country's economic growth rate by 2% per annum. Moreover, corruption disproportionately affects the most vulnerable members of our society, including the poor, women, and children. So as we discuss the Transparency International verdict today, we'll be exploring the key challenges that Nigeria faces in its fight against corruption. We'll examine the impact of corruption on economy and on our daily lives, also on our politics and policies that have been implemented. And we'll be asking the tough questions: what more needs to be done to tackle corruption in Nigeria? Can we really eradicate corruption in Nigeria? What role can you and I as citizens play, civil society and the government play in the fight against corruption? And joining us in the studio this morning, we have Awwal Musa Rafsanjani from the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. With his expertise and insights, we're going to delve into the complexities. But, let's start with the basis. What's your take on the outcome of the index?
Well, first and foremost, the index is a reflection of what countries are experiencing in terms of public sector corruption. If you look at Nigeria, public services have been compromised. There's a completely compromising institutional integrity. And you also turn political offices as purely commercial. You use dirty money to get yourself into office, whether through rigging or even through hiring thugs to kill people or to disperse them, or even at the level of political party, hijacking the party, with most of the party are not having internal democracy. And therefore, if you have political parties that are not having internal party democracy and members are not actually actively participating, they don't even have real membership that they can own the party in terms of decision making. And during the convention, the person who has the highest money, or the person who is the favorable candidate or person from the president or from the governor, be rest assured, no matter how unpopular, no matter how completely irrelevant that person is going to be the person. In some places, it is just more of like appointment. So the person, either the governor or the president, will simply appoint, and that is what is going to happen at the party primary and subsequently at the general election. So when you are procuring public offices, definitely you are not going to do any service to the general public. You will be using that office to divert public taxpayers' money, like we've seen a lot of them. You'll be using that office to engage in impunity. And when you look at the lack of I don't care attitude that they actually have, you see Nigeria is spending trillion on security in this country. The more you budget more money on security, the more insecurity happens in the country. You ask yourself, what is the reason for that? Nigerians, they can no longer go to farms. They can no longer move. Even here in this Abuja, you can't move freely without being feared that you will be attacked or kidnapped or ambushed. So Nigerians have been wondering, is this what democracy brings? Is this the promise? Because you have commercialized the political offices. People are going there just to make money. not to make service, not to provide services to the nation. That is why corruption is dangerous when you look at political corruption. When you look at the judicial corruption, people are procuring judgment. They commit atrocities. They commit looting in their state or in their offices. And they will get corrupt judge to give you perpetual injunction not to be asked, not to be interrogated, not to be arrested, not even associate of yours should be asked question. So with such kind of judiciary, which has now turned itself into even an electoral body, because you rig the election, you say, let's meet in court, because you've already settled them. In the first place, you have succeeded in appointing many of the judges in different courts, either election tribunal or even, different form of courts that we have in Nigeria. The corrupt people have been able to install their own people. Even in the INEC itself, people who are determined to bastardize the election, they have their own agent, whether as commissioners or as staff. So when you have this kind of total compromise situation, or even if you take the instance of, civil space attack, press freedom is out. Nigerians can no longer express themselves. They can no longer associate peacefully as the Constitution enshrine and empower you to do. If you do, they will kill you, like we have seen with end bad governance. Minors that shamelessly are not supposed to be arrested and maltreated the way they have done it. We have seen how they have even succeeded in killing some people shamelessly, even after the president had acknowledged there was killing. Some people who want to be doing sarcasm, they say there's nobody that was killed. Meanwhile, the citizens, including government body, National Human Rights Commission, confirmed 28 people died in that protest. A lot of media show live how some happy policemen and security were killing and shooting people. Yet when Amnesty International compiled the names, the addresses, the photographs of these people, somebody in the police said that they are threatening to even sue Amnesty or to do whatever they think they can do to undermine the freedom to express and demand accountability. But I want to guarantee them and assure them that no matter how much they think they can do this, even after service, they will be pursued because injustice cannot, succeed. And that is what is culminating to response to the Corruption Perception Index in Nigeria and worldwide. If you look at the sources that were used to compute this, Nigeria is even a member of some of these institutions. African Development Bank, Nigeria is part of it. The World Bank, Nigeria is part of it. There are a number of institutions that are part of these sources that even Nigeria is part and parcel of it. So what denial will you do? So and when Nigerians are actually facing this extortion, you cannot even move with, from here to here. You must be extorted. If you don't give that money, you are at risk of your life. That's the kind of system you have. Why can't you have this kind of terrible situation?
Mr. Rafsanjani, thank you for those opening comments. I just wanted to take you slightly back memory lane. I remember in the days of President Obasanjo, when this question was put to him at a live media chat, he said, well, everybody on the list is corrupt. You're just maybe first or 30th, and it was his own way of just despising the list. This government has welcomed, in a way, welcomed this latest ranking because of some marginal progress we seem to have made on that list. But from TI's representative in Nigeria, what is your perception of how this government has treated this kind of international report? Sometimes when it looks like we are making upward gains, they welcome it. When we backslide, when we are supposed to learn lessons, they disregard, they disparage the credibility of the report, and you have told us the kind of people that are part of it. But my question really is, what is the consequence of having this kind of international ratings on Nigeria? What does it do to us, other than just the bad feelings that we are negatively ranked?
Of course, it does incredible damage to Nigeria and its quest for foreign, investment, and also even the multilateral relation with other nations. If Nigeria is painted in this manner, nobody would like to come to the country. If the country is, before you do any business, you are going to be extorted, you are going to, face all sorts of multiple illegal taxation. If you are going to do business, you are not even sure of your life, you are not even sure of how you are going to succeed in your business, certainly it will affect the investment opportunity for Nigeria. Secondly, many countries, if they know this officially, the country condone and accept or tolerate corruption. They will not want to do anything with you. And again, that is why you see Nigerians, they face multiple challenges when they travel out, because they are already being seen as coming from a country that promotes corruption. A situation whereby people who are standing trial or who are being under investigation for corruption, you reward them again with a political appointment, juicy political appointment. There's no way any country will respect you. No country will have somebody under investigation for corruption or under trial, and then you ignore everybody and then you go ahead to give such kind of person appointment. No country will respect you when money that is budgeted to buy arms and ammunition and take care of the welfare of the army or the police will now be diverted, and then the country will respect you. They will not respect you. Many money had been diverted abroad, both locally and internationally. Nigeria has recovered some of this money, which means that it's happening, it's real, and the gigantic project that government at the state and national level are creating is nothing but fraud in many instances. You borrow money to finance project, this project would be abandoned. You collect the take-up money, with sometime without any procurement process, you just siphon the thing, and that's why you have thousands of abandoned projects in Nigeria. This cannot give us good impression and good rating, globally. So it has a huge implication, and more importantly, you have created an opportunity or impression to the young people that the only way to succeed is to be a looter. The only way to succeed is to engage in impunity. So this is what the young people are learning from many of the political actors in Nigeria. Because when you get there, you have one house, within 6 months, you have houses in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Kaduna, Kano, everywhere you go, including Dubai, UK, America, even though we have made it difficult for corrupt people to buy houses in the UK and the US, because we work with other civil society organizations in those countries to put pressure on their government to legislate laws that will prevent looters coming to buy houses. Nigerians, Americans, for example, hardly see an American buying a house at once. You do through mortgage because you do not have that resources, and you cannot explain how you got that money, then you cannot get that house. But in the case of Nigerian looters, the choice areas in the UK, that's where they go to buy, or in Dubai, or even in Turkey now. So there's no way those countries will continue to respect you because they know you don't love your country. You steal the money and put it in those countries through all sort of, network of surrogates, network of corrupt people.
So the question, having operated from your vintage position, have you been approached by any of the successive government, including this one, or with a genuine attempt to improve our ratings by understanding the metrics that go into account? The last administration wanted so much to do something about the ease of doing business, and they disaggregated the metrics. Why are we being ranked poorly and low on the ease of doing the business index. It's because we don't do this, it's because it takes this to register business, it's because taxes are cumbersome. And they selected the ones that are easy, the low-hanging fruit, and addressed them, and started reforms on some other areas that would take a bit of time, to get to. And then we saw marginal increases in our ease of doing business index. But why is it impossible to do those kind of things on the Transparency International index? Have the government ever proposed to work with you, or have you made proposals to them to say we can work together and remove our names from some of these dirty charts, that seem to give us a bad name on an annual basis?
So the arrogance and the fact that some people benefit from this corruption within some government cycle will not let them agree to say, let us look at this. What are the issues? Unlike UK, Canada, Germany, Switzerland, France, Britain, that Transparency International also rated them low in many instances, and they will now say, okay, what can we do to improve? So if this mighty country, America, Britain, Canada, France, Switzerland, they will say, okay, how do we, address these challenges? Now, the arrogant, corrupt public official in Nigeria who benefit from this looting, they will not be interested, because they believe that somebody is trying to block them from continuing to steal public taxpayers' money. Even Buhari, who claimed that he came to fight corruption was an empty agenda, he was not able to succeed in doing anything because there was no, innermost intention to do that. Everything was just camouflage. Everything was just, pretense. But still, the media and the civil society were resilient, were pushing and demanding that there must be game change in this. Likewise, too, under this administration, we are not going to sleep. It's our country. Some of them, their tenure is just for 8 years, right? Maximum 8 years. We will not allow you, because you are coming to play 8 years, to destroy the country forever. We will continue to push and advocate, provide credible information on how to mitigate some of these things. For example, now, when we are talking about ease of doing business, helping the citizens to survive this artificial, economic, challenges that you have plunged them, courtesy of corruption and courtesy of heartlessness that you have. Look at the new scandal that we are hearing, that after sacking some directors or some senior staff in Central Bank of Nigeria, some consultants have been hired to collect money that is not within the threshold of even agreed amount in this country. You cannot do that. Secondly, they say that they have introduced new charges on the ATM. To withdraw $20,500, a naira will be taken. Who does that all over the world? Nobody. So you withdraw subsidy, which we have always said that the only problem is about subsidy corruption, not subsidy for the people, because all over the world, from Europe to America to Asia to other countries in Africa, there is subsidy. Subsidy in agriculture, subsidy in education, subsidy in healthcare, subsidy in every aspect of life of the citizens. That is why they are citizens of that country, because they pay tax and they expect their government to, at least help improve or accelerate, their living condition. But in the case of Nigeria, it is about taxing the poor and then misappropriating this money that you collected. For example, the saving from the subsidy, this is 1 year plus. Nobody can tell you how much they have saved and how much they have invested in the lives of Nigerians in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, even in terms of security. Nobody will tell you. We have recovered a lot of money from both local and international. Can anybody tell you exactly what they have recovered and what they have used those recoveries in terms of improving the lives of Nigerians. Let them come with the statistic. Even if they have done it, Nigerians, they don't know. So you cannot be doing things and keep it to yourself because it is public. You are a public person. It's not a private business. Even if you are a private business, you will have to do audit, right? And in the audit, you will show how much you have made and how much you're supposed to remit to government, not to talk of public institution and public enterprises. So what you have in Nigeria is that you have people who are unfortunately supposed to serve the nation, but they are serving themselves.
All right.
Sadly.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Awwal Musa Rafsanjani, for joining us this morning. We wish we had more time to extend the conversation, but it's unfortunate we've run out of time. Thank you for opening our eyes to, the supposed fight against corruption in Nigeria that we're watching and seeing, and the lack of transparency. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And to have a great day ahead. I know it will be a busy call for you across several media houses now that this report is out. We wish you all the best as you go about helping Nigerians to understand the nitty-gritty of that report.
Thank you very much.
All right. And I hope to see you in Nigeria more than I see you outside the